I'm Warren Sprouse. This is the Bible Forum. We're talking about the Jewish celebration of Purim. You might not pronounce it like that. You might pronounce Purim. But you would be laughed at in Israel. Some Central European communities call it Purim. But mostly Westerners, it's called Purim. Eastern tradition, Purim. Those two are acceptable. Purim and Purim, probably not so much. Purim is a celebration rooted in the Old Testament story of Esther and King Ahasuerus of Persia. It takes place in the 4th century BC. The Persian Empire of the time extended over 127 lands, and all the Jews were its subjects. When King Ahasuerus had his wife Queen Vashti banished for failing to follow his orders, he arranged a beauty pageant to find a new queen. A Jewish girl by the name of Esther found favor in his eyes and became the new queen, though she refused to divulge her nationality. He didn't know she was Jewish. But meanwhile, the Jew-hating Haman was appointed prime minister of the empire. Mordecai was Esther's cousin. He was the leader of the Jews. And he defied the king's orders, refused to bow to Haman when he walked by. Haman was incensed, and he convinced the king to issue a decree ordering the extermination of all Jews on the 13th of Adar, a date chosen by a lottery Haman made. Mordecai galvanized all the Jews, convincing them to repent, fast, and pray to God. Meanwhile, Esther asked the king and Haman to join her for a feast. At a subsequent feast, Esther revealed to the king her Jewish identity, telling the king Haman was out to kill her and her countrymen. Well, the king was not happy, and he ordered Haman hanged and his wealth and station to be given to Mordecai. A new decree was issued granting the Jews the right to defend themselves against the enemies, because the law of the Medes and the Persians declared that what I have written, I have written. Once it is stated as law, it cannot be changed. But they could defend themselves, and they did. And there was a great slaughter in the land, and it wasn't of Jews. On the 13th of Adar, the Jews mobilized, killed many of their enemies. On the 14th of Adar, this year, that's March 12, last Sunday, they rested and celebrated. In the capital of Shushan, they took one more day to finish the job. Purim and Purim mean lots in ancient Persia, when you cast lots. The holiday was thus named since Haman had thrown lots to determine when he would carry out his diabolical scheme. Some rabbis see this week's turnaround holiday of Purim, leading up to the celebration of Israel's 70th year, as a portal that will open the way for the most impressive upset victory of all time, the Third Temple. Purim, celebrated Saturday night to Sunday evening, is called in Hebrew a word I can't pronounce that means flipping things around. It is in honor of the days wherein the Yehudim had rest from their enemies, in the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to gladness, from mourning unto good day, that they should make them days of feasting and gladness. Esther chapter 9, verse 22. One of the rabbis in Israel said that just as in the Purim story, this aspect of total change is good for the Jewish people. It's precisely the power of belief that is needed to bring the Third Temple, a belief in things that literally no one saw coming. He was talking about the election of Donald Trump as President of these United States. Judaism today does not even remotely relate to what it will be when the temple comes, and that could literally be tomorrow. It ain't going to spring up out of the ground, but it could start. He says we cannot even imagine it. Israelis see themselves as those in Psalm 126, where it says, when the Lord brought back those that returned to Zion, we were like unto them that dream. After the destruction of the first temple, it took 70 years for Israel to wake up and build the second temple. After May 14th, Israel will be going into its 70th year. This is the year that Israel will go through big changes. It is when we wake up to the real reason we were brought back into the land, that they might keep his statutes, Psalm 105, and observe his laws. That is the reason God gave us the land, Rabbi Brody said. The whole message is that no matter how much we plan or how clear the end seems to be, it is really all in God's hands. Israel, as a nation in the world, is nothing short of a miracle of God. There's no way it could have occurred. There's no way they could have survived the first attack. There's no way they could have survived the attack that we call the June 6th war. There's no way they could still be there with enemies round about, convinced that they have to destroy Israel at all costs. But there they are. And they've been there now for 70 years. This will be the 70th year that Israel has been in the land. And next week we're going to talk about that third temple. How much money have they put aside for it? What have they got as far as furnishings, priesthood, and all the rest of it? You may actually be shocked, if you've never heard this before, at how close they are. And with a president like Donald Trump, who has a Jewish son-in-law and Jewish children, there's no telling.